Hi everybody, this is Kimberly of Happy Gals Vintage, Elements 5 and Crystal Wand Maker. Thank you for tuning in to watch my video today. Today's video is the newest video in my series about ways to be happy. And today I am going to talk about gardening. You probably guessed it. I have a bunch of my plants here in front of me that I thought I would just share with you for fun. Some of them are house plants. Some of them are vegetables that I'm growing hydroponically using the Kratky method. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in this video in a couple of minutes. And I'm also going to have links below this video in the description that for videos that you can go to find out more about growing things using the Kratky method, because I think it's a lot of fun. It's something new that I just started trying this winter. I live in Vermont, so we have long winters, snowy winters. It gets very sort of drab outside, you know, just a lot of snow, so it's very black and white looking outside. And because I love summer so much and I love plants so much, sometimes the winters can be a tough challenge for me to keep my mood up. And so one thing I've done over the years is grow things indoors during the winter. And often I will just do a little herb garden or something in a window. And then I always have houseplants in the house year-round, and they're wonderful too, just to keep the quality of the air up in your house during winter months when you can't always be opening the doors because it's too cold outside, and so it's hard to keep that fresh air moving through the house. The plants really help with that. Let me introduce you to some of the plants that are right here with me right now, and then I will take you into my little indoor hydroponic garden that I started actually in our guest room here in my house. And I want to share that with you in just a minute. But first, I have, well, I think they call this one a mother-in-law's tongue. I don't know what the scientific name is for this plant. And this was actually one of my mother's plants that she had in her house. And when she passed away a couple of years ago, I brought it home, I adopted it, and he's doing really great. Usually he's in my bedroom right next to the window. I have some little tomato plants that are growing hydroponically in jars of nutrient-enriched water. And these are usually in my kitchen window and in my dining room window. I have some zucchini, bush zucchini, that are growing also hydroponically. And they actually get these little zucchinis on them. You can see the flowers where they're going to be getting zucchinis. And let's see, oh, I have aloe. I think I talked about aloe maybe in one of my other videos. This is a really good plant for cleaning the air and also for skincare when you have burns or different issues with your skin. I have an arrowhead plant, which is just a really pretty plant. This plant keeps poking me in the ear. Let me turn him a little bit. I like arrowhead plants. It's just a really beautiful plant. It's pretty easy to grow. It's not a real fussy plant to take care of, and my mom always had a lot of these when I was growing up in our house in California, and so they have like a special sentimental meaning to me, having an arrowhead plant. I have a little fern down here, and then these are little Tulsi tea plants right here. Tulsi is actually a holy basil plant, and the leaves can be used to make a really amazing tea. It's an anti-inflammatory tea that is just really good for you and tastes really good too. And as you know, if you've watched some of my other videos, I love tea and I love teacups. I sell teacups in my Happy Gals Vintage shop. And so I wanted to grow some plants that I could make my own herbal teas, like fresh, right in my house. And so that's one of the reasons that I'm growing the Tulsi. And this one right in front of me, I think it's called an Easter cactus, because it blooms around Easter, or it's supposed to. As you see, it's kind of blooming again. For me, this pretty plant has been blooming about every 3 months, so it's blooming way more than once a year for me. It's quite happy in my living room window most of the time. And this one I did adopt from, I think this one was actually my mother's as well. I can't remember. I often will get plants from friends and family if they have a plant that isn't doing so well, or they're just moving and they don't have space for the plant anymore, something like that. I will inherit plants often. Another plant I have here kind of in the corner over here, I don't know if you can see it very well, it's kind of a big sort of a palm tree kind of looking plant, is a dragon plant that my son started from a seed. I think when he was about 6 or 7, I can't remember. He's 16 now, so you can see that it's gotten, you know, pretty tall here in that amount of time. The thing is, it would get even a lot taller if I transplanted it into a larger pot. It's in a pot that's okay for it right now, just because I'm trying to contain it. I don't have a lot of room in my house to have giant trees. So that's, he will get transplanted eventually, but not yet. Now for this next part of the video, we're going to move into my guest room, and I'm going to show you my little hydroponic garden I have set up in there where I'm growing some fresh vegetables. Okay, so now we've moved into my spare bedroom, and I have my little hydroponic garden actually set up underneath the loft bed that's in the spare bedroom because it's just a nice little spot where I can tuck the plants under. And I'm just going to turn the camera around, and I'm going to give you a little view here of what's happening. So I have these shelves set up in the guest bedroom here, and I have grow lights because I didn't want to have to worry about, you know, if I was getting enough light or not for the plants. The winters can be a little dreary and drab here in Vermont, and so let me just show you. All of these plants are growing in mason jars filled with a nutrient enriched water, and they're all growing under LED grow lights, so I'm not using up a lot of power really to keep all these plants growing. Here we have some little gem lettuce growing, and then we have a Tulsi tea plant. I have a nasturtium plant, which is an edible flower. The leaves and the flowers are edible. And I have a little pepper plant just getting going. We've got some kale growing, another nasturtium, and then I've got some iceberg lettuce. And that's just the first row. There's a back row too with some other lettuces and kales growing. And then if we go down to the next level here, I have some butter crunch lettuce in the back, some more little gem lettuce. Little gem lettuce, by the way, is really tasty, and it grows really fast. And you can kind of just take leaves from the bottom. Say when you're ready to make a salad, you can just cut leaves off from the bottom, and it will continue to regenerate new leaves from the top, so it just keeps coming. And so you can eat fresh lettuce for a very long time off the same plant. And I think that's really a nice benefit of growing lettuce in your house in the winter. And this is a marigold flower. It hasn't flowered yet, but it's got a little bud, so it's working on it. It's gonna get there. And we've got more pepper plants. I think that's a kale. There's a nice spinach that's really getting going. Oh, I've got celery in the back. Now that plant I actually started from a bottom piece of a celery stalk that I had bought at the grocery store. I'd cut all the celery off, and you can just take that bottom piece, put it in water to get it growing, and you can actually regenerate a celery plant. And some of these plants that are in the back row, they look a little red or blue. It's because I have these special red-blue grow light in the back. So I have regular 5000K grow lights, and I also intersperse them with these red and blue grow lights as well, and the combination seems to work great. I think that you could probably use one or the other and be fine as well. I've got Swiss chard growing right here, and I believe this is a Grand Rapids lettuce here. I like to have a few different kinds of lettuce going. This is a butter crunch lettuce in the back, I think. I get them confused after a while. So many lettuces going. I love lettuce. My son loves salads, so I'm always looking for different types of greens for us to eat in our salads. In the back here is a little bush cucumber plant, and it's got some flowers on it, so it's trying to fruit for me with a cucumber. Here's another cucumber plant, and this one actually does have a little cucumber starting, if you can see that. I'm trying to keep it in focus for you here. And I thought there were a couple in here. Oh, yeah, there's another little one down in there. Hard to see, but it's growing right there. So that's pretty fun. You know, here we are in March in Vermont. There's still snow on the ground. It's starting to melt, but we're still getting snow from every once in a while, just little bits of snow. There's another chard plant that's doing pretty well in here, I think. I mean, I only started this hydroponic garden a couple of months ago. I started all of these plants from seeds. And over here, you can see where some younger plants that I have going. So, you know, as the plants that I was just showing you, as we eat them up and as they get older, I have other plants going. Here's a stevia plant, which is, you know, a natural sweetener that I can add when I make my herbal teas. I've got a cabbage in the back there, some more Swiss chard, some more kale. Here's a little lavender plant. Again, these plants are growing under the blue and red grow lights. You can kind of see here, it's like a strip. So that's why they look a little probably pink to you in the video. Here I've got chamomile. Again, that's going to be for my herbal teas. I have some little tiny herbs that I've just started going in the back. There's some dill, and I also have a little tiny strawberry plant that is starting. And some of these plants, you know, when you start them from seeds, they're so delicate when they first come up. And like this stevia plant has taken months to get to this size. They tend to really it's a very slow growing plant, stevia. But you know, it'll be worth it once I get it growing. Here we go, some more young baby plants, some spinach, some lavender. The lavender is also going to be for my herbal teas. A little chili plant. I'm going to have some different spicy chilies going. And let me just show you up here my little plant nursery system I have that I do. I start my plants in these little seed pods, these little peat pots. They actually come like this. They're like a dried little disc that you can get at the garden supply store in different ways. I only have a few left on these. You soak them in water, and then you put your seeds right in them. This is a little grow system I have with a lid, so you can keep the moisture in, you know, before the seeds sprout, and just keep them nice and warm in there. And then once they sprout, you can open it up. It's so warm in my room here that I'm just keeping it open because I don't want to rot the seeds at all. And here's some more over here. These are some more herbs. I think I've got some parsley and basil that are going to pop up in those in a couple of days. And then once they pop, they get moved over here under this little grow light on a stand I have that's just specifically for starting seeds. And over here I have some thyme and parsley and a little tiny cayenne pepper that's just poking its head out. It's just getting started. So that's where I have my little bin here that is just full of seeds, and I have a lot of seeds. And some of these are for my garden indoors, but I will also be starting my seedlings to plant outdoors soon. I like to have an outdoor vegetable and flower garden every year. Some years it does really well, some years not as well. I always am looking for tips to make it do better, you know, but I always love to try. Always give it a shot to see how well I can get things growing. And oh yes, and I also have sprouts. I really love sprouts because they grow really fast. They're really nutrient dense. They're super, super easy to grow. Here I have some pea sprouts and some broccoli sprouts. And these are just, I mean, I can just eat them right, you know, I'll just cut a few and just eat them raw right out of my hand. But they're also good on salads. And I get my pea sprout seeds from a company called Sprout House. You know, you get a big bag of them like this, but you can also just get dried peas right from the grocery store, and that works too. You just have to soak them, I think, maybe overnight to soften them up before you plant them. And these are not quite ready to harvest yet, but they will be in probably a day or two. And I'll just cut them off right at the base and just eat them. And they are so tasty, and they're so full of vitamins and minerals for you. And then I have some little broccoli sprouts. Again, they've got a couple more days to go. They're looking pretty good. And I have chive sprouts that haven't come up yet. Waiting for those to come up. They're working on it. And here I have some little avocado pits that I am trying to get to sprout. I haven't had an avocado plant growing inside for a while. Years ago I did have one that I got to about 6 feet in a pot in my house, so that's pretty fun. This is just some wheatgrass. Some people call it catgrass. I like to call it birdgrass. I grow this from seeds for my little parakeet, Corey, and he loves to eat that. He's 11 years old. I give him fresh fruits and vegetables every day. I will often give him some fresh lettuce from my garden. You know, it's great because with a pet bird, you know, it's really good for them to have fresh vegetables, but they're very sensitive to things like pesticides, and so you have to be really careful about what you might give them from the grocery store. And this way you know all along exactly what went into growing your plants and what the plants have encountered, and you don't have to worry about the toxins. Now over here on this shelf I just have some of my supplies. I have distilled water. The water that's in my house is well water. It's pretty hard water on the pH scale, so I usually will use a distilled water to get my Kratky hydroponic vegetables going. So I always have a supply of that. I do use this particular nutrient product. It's called Fox Farm Grow Big, and it seems to be working well. As you can tell by my plants, they are really happy. They have grown like crazy in a very short amount of time. And you know, the plants I just showed you, I've been picking off of pretty regularly to make salads for myself and my son to eat. So that tells you, and they just keep regenerating. They just keep growing as I'm picking things. And then I have some potting soil over here. I do grow some things in just regular soil. And then I have some ceramic clay, I guess they call them clay pebbles. These are what you use in the bottom of the cups when you're doing the hydroponic method. So if you look to the link in the description below this video, I am gonna link some videos that are about the Kratky method and how it works. But generally you use these cups, these plastic cups. This one I have rubber bands in right now because I use rubber bands to secure the bags around my jars that the hydroponic plants are growing in. So I have a mason jar here with one of these grow cups, you know, tucked in. The plant inside of its little pod, you know, once it starts growing to a certain size, I can take the little seed pod and I can put it into the cup, and then I put the clay pebbles around it. It tucks right into the jar with the hydroponic solution in there, and then the roots can grow down through the holes in the cup and down into the water, and it supports the plant. So it's kind of a neat system. It's not hard to do. I think it's really fun, and I recommend anyone who wants to try it, who wants to do some indoor gardening. And right now, because we've been having this scare with the coronavirus and everyone is supposed to stay home, and it's hard to get all the supplies we need because people are kind of storing food at home, you know, buying a bunch and not leaving a whole lot in the grocery stores. This has been really nice for me to come in here, and even if there isn't any fresh lettuce left at the grocery store, I just pick my own right here in my guest bedroom. Now I'm back here with all my plants in front of me again. And I hope that you enjoyed the little tour of my indoor hydroponic garden that I have going in my guest room. And I hope that you are, if you're interested at all, you'll give it a try, because I think it's really fun. It's not difficult to do. There's a little bit of investment involved, but if you aren't interested in using grow lights, you just want to use a window, which works too, then it's much less expensive. You know, you're really only purchasing the mason jars, which you may have some around your house already. The hydroponic growing solution, although some people even use a Miracle Grow for vegetables, that can work too. The little cups that hold the plant into the jar. I've seen videos that are on YouTube of people using like yogurt cups, like the miniature yogurt cups and stuff, and just cutting them and making their own. So you may not even have to purchase those. Seeds for things like lettuce and tomatoes, you can get at the dollar store for like 4 packs for $1. So it could be a really affordable project for you to do, really fun to do in your house, and you might get, most likely you're going to get at least, you know, some fresh spinach or some fresh lettuce, or whatever you want to try to grow is fun to grow. You can even just grow flowers. I told you I'm growing some marigolds in there, just for fun. And the great thing about plants is they are a living being just like us, and they have an energy all their own, and they respond to our own energy. So if we are putting nurturing care toward the plant, if we care about the plant, we want it to grow and thrive, the plant will respond. You know, I really think that's what mostly a green thumb is all about. There's definitely techniques and things that you can learn, different ways of taking care of different plants, but generally most plants you can take care of in very similar ways. It's all about just, you know, watering them regularly, making sure they have light. Don't overwater plants. Most plants, I mean, this is true of a lot of plants I've had over the years. Most plants, if you just water them thoroughly with like a warm water, not too hot, not too cold, you just put it in the sink and you water that plant once a week. And water it completely, let it run right through so it's dripping out the bottom, and then leave it there and just let it drain so that it's completely done draining through. So it's all wet all the way through the plant, but then it's allowed to drain. And then you can put it back in its little, you know, a lot of plants will have like a bottom to catch the water, but you don't ever want a plant to be sitting in water, or like, unless it's a hydroponically grown plant, it's a whole nother story. But plants in dirt like this one, you don't want the roots to just sit in water in a bottom like that, because it will rot the roots and the plant won't be healthy, and a lot of plants will just die over time. Also, if you underwater a plant, that'll kill a plant too. But that system of just once a week watering the plant really well, letting it completely drain through so it's damp but not sitting in any standing water, and then just keep it where it will get light on a regular basis. You know, natural light, either has to be light from a window or a light source like an LED 5000K. That's the range of the light, the frequency of the light, which is similar to daylight, right? We're trying to match daylight, because just a regular incandescent bulb in your house is not the right frequency that a plant needs. A plant needs a very specific frequency of light, just like from the sun, for it to be happy and to grow. And there have also been studies done about plants and the fact that plants can actually feel our emotions and respond to our emotions. So I did a little studies about this years ago when I was in college, and I'm gonna see if I can find the books and the research that I did at that time and put some information about that in the description below this video too, because it's really interesting and it gives you a whole other perspective on these beings that we share our world with and that we can surround ourselves with to boost our spirit, boost our mood, and you can have the same effect on your plants. Believe it or not, how you feel about your plants will also determine how well they thrive and grow. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you had as much fun watching it as I did shooting it. And if you like this video, please click the like button for me down below. And if you want to see more videos about ways to be happy, click the subscription button. And I make videos pretty often whenever I have a chance. I also run some businesses, my Happy Gals Vintage, my Crystal Wand Maker, and my Elements 5 shops. They're all online, and if you're interested in checking those out, again, there are links in the description below this video so you can see all the things that I sell. I do offer vintage collectibles like teacups and teapots, and I'm an artist, and I paint, and I make custom crystal jewelry and custom crystal wands. So thanks again for watching, and have a great day.